What if I told you that 300 men once held off an army of over 1 million soldiers for 3 days straight, knowing they would die, but refusing to surrender? The world was vast, yet fragile. Empires rose on rivers of blood and fire, and kings ruled not by wisdom, but by fear. In the east, a sprawling empire stretched its shadow across fertile plains and mountain passes, demanding tribute and obedience from every tribe, every city, every soul. Its legions were countless, its banners omnipresent, and its ambition limitless. Every sunrise brought new campaigns, new conquests, and new towns reduced to ash and smoke. Its governors demanded loyalty, and failure to comply meant devastation. From the great river valleys to the arid steppes, the empire's influence was absolute, and its reach relentless. In the west, scattered kingdoms eked out their existence. Cliffs rose from the sea, forests swallowed the land, and valleys cradled cities of stone and clay. Here, life moved differently. Seasons dictated the rhythm of harvests, and the pulse of village markets carried the hum of survival rather than the roar of conquest. Among these small nations, whispers of rebellion flickered like candles in the storm. Few expected them to matter, yet some warriors dared to defy fate itself. They were not motivated by ambition or greed. Their fight was a sacred duty, a defense of home, hearth, and heritage. It began with a council of men, brave and unbending, who understood that their lands could not withstand the full weight of the empire. They were neither kings nor generals of grand armies, but men of courage and wisdom, forged by hardship and loss. They debated strategies by torchlight, tracing maps on wooden tables, weighing every possibility. Yet they chose to fight, not for glory, not for gold, but for honor. Their decision was not a gamble, it was a statement, a declaration that the world might tremble before empires, but hearts unbroken would endure. In a narrow mountain pass, bordered by cliffs and forest, they gathered. 300, some say 3,000. Numbers mattered less than courage. Each warrior bore the marks of their culture: bronze cuirasses, shields etched with sigils, swords tempered in sacred fires. Their eyes, steeled by endless winters and the loss of kin to empire raids, burned with defiance. The mountains themselves seemed to lean closer, as if the world sensed a storm about to break. Moss clung to the rocks, the wind whistled through jagged ridges, and rivers cut deep lines into the valley floor, carving natural obstacles that would become allies in the fight. The empire advanced like a tidal wave of iron and discipline. Drums echoed across valleys, shields clanged, horses screamed, and dust and smoke thickened the air. The warriors took their positions in the pass, a natural funnel where numbers counted for nothing. Spears bristled like a forest of death, and arrows darkened the sky as rain darkens the horizon. The first waves of enemy soldiers fell like wheat under a scythe, crushed by the ferocity of the defenders. Yet the empire pressed on, relentless, confident that time would turn courage into corpses. A single warrior moved forward, shield high, deflecting a glancing spear. Each blow was precise, each death a silent testament of defiance. Around him companions fell, yet the line held, trading life for time, sweat for honor. Hills became natural barricades, rocks were flung like projectiles, narrow cliffs funneled enemies into traps. Rivers slowed the relentless tide, turning the battlefield into a theater where terrain was as potent a weapon as sword or spear. And yet the empire adapted, flanking and surrounding, testing the courage and resolve of every soul who stood against them. As the third day dawned, the warriors were exhausted, yet unbroken. Their muscles screamed, their lungs burned, but the fire in their eyes did not fade. But betrayal, often the quietest and most lethal weapon of empires, revealed itself. Scouts reported a hidden path, an unguarded flank that bypassed the narrow pass, a secret trail that could undo weeks of courage in a single night. A council was held under the cover of darkness. Some urged retreat, others demanded a final stand. In the end, they chose to fight to the last breath, to etch their defiance into history, knowing well the cost. The betrayal of terrain, the exhaustion, the sheer weight of numbers began to tell. The pass, once a shield, became a tomb. Waves of enemy soldiers surged forward like an unstoppable tide. Each fallen warrior slowed the tide, but the end was inevitable. One by one, the defenders fell. The ground became a mosaic of blood and bronze. Spears shattered, shields splintered, cries pierced the sky, and the earth itself seemed to shudder beneath the relentless assault. But every moment bought time for the kingdoms behind them. Every fallen warrior became legend, a living story of courage passed to generations who would hear of their defiance in song and tale. The empire broke through, but not unscathed. Centuries later, poets would sing of the narrow pass, of the 300 or 3,000 who had defied the world. They died, yes, but their spirit endured. The empire claimed the battlefield, yet it could not claim their courage. Mountains, rivers, forests, all bore witness to their stand, silent and enduring. The empire marched on, banners waving, but its victories were hollow. The delay caused by the defenders allowed cities to fortify, alliances to form, and strategies to evolve. What was meant to be an easy conquest turned into decades of struggle. Empires, even vast ones, learned that the human spirit cannot be measured in numbers, nor crushed by mere steel. The world learned that even the smallest force, armed with resolve and an unwavering sense of purpose, could shape history. Tales of bravery spread, inspiring poets, generals, and kings for generations. Monuments were erected, statues raised, songs sung, but nothing could fully capture the human cost of defiance. The memory of the fallen became a moral compass, a reminder that courage is timeless and that honor can endure beyond the death of men. Today, the pass remains silent. Wind sweeps through the mountains, carrying the echoes of 1,000 clashing swords. The world remembers, not in numbers, but in stories. The 300 or 3,000 became immortal, not through victory, but through the courage to face impossible odds, the will to stand when the world demanded surrender. Their stand reminds us that empires, no matter how vast, are fragile when confronted by conviction. Courage can outlast steel. Honor, when held in hearts unbroken, transcends time. Every act of courage, however small, is a spark against the dark tide of oppression. Even when surrounded by insurmountable odds, the human spirit will always rise, carrying the memory of those who refused to bow. History is not only written in triumphs, but in resistance. And sometimes the smallest act, the narrowest stand, the briefest moment of defiance can ripple across centuries, shaping the fate of nations and the hearts of men who come after. In remembering them, we remember ourselves and the enduring power of courage.